We've reached the midway point of the 2021 NFL regular season, and the Gold Sheet would like to say thank you for another fantastic year. The Gold Sheet has been serving NFL and college football bettors for over 6 decades and continues to make enhancements and improvements into today's digital age. Whether you're a lifelong subscriber, used to buy it at the newsstand, or perhaps have never seen the Gold Sheet, we want to share this week's edition with you. To celebrate Customer Appreciation Week, all Gold Sheet football products are free. That includes the traditional Gold Sheet with write-ups on every NFL and college football game for this week. No codes, coupons, or registration required. All productions are available for download at goldsheet.com.
Hey guys, welcome in and happy Wednesday to you as we get ready for another NBA tip-off show powered by WagerTalk.com. We only had 3 games last night on the card, but man, we got plenty of games in the association to choose from. And then, of course, there's Houston and Detroit, which I don't even think Robert, our producer, is going to watch. That's how bad it is. But we've got 4 games we're going to break down for you, including our contrarian play of the day. And let's say hello to the fellers. 3 of the absolute most profitable handicappers at Wager Talk in the association. Tony Mejia in the house. Teddy Covers making his triumphant debut. Way to go, Teddy. Good to see you. And, of course, Kevin Dolan, who's been fighting the contrarian guards from the beginning. And Tony Mejia, my man, welcome in. College hoops last night. Full card in the NBA tonight. What do you got going on at Wager Talk, my friend?
I've got packages up in tonight's Maction. I got a 5-0 Wednesday record rolling, and we've got college basketball up, and we've got the NBA up. So plenty to choose from. I am definitely going to be watching that nationally televised affair between disappointing rookies Jalen Green and Cade Cunningham. That'll be fun, and watch all the other stuff. So a 13-game card, plenty to keep track on, and we'll talk about 4 really attractive matchups. But yeah, I mean, just out of for posterity's sake, we got to watch Green and Cunningham get together for the first time.
Yeah, I was like, why you got to take shots at the Oklahoma State guy? I don't get it, Teddy. Good Lord.
All you.
Teddy, what is going on, my man? Continuing to roll with the profits here. College football, NFL, NBA, a good start and plus college basketball last night. So what do you got rolling at Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com?
We got a pair of plays up in the association for this evening, as well as 1 in Maction. You get all 3 with a value-priced 3-pack available right now over at WagerTalk and or SportsMemo.com.
Yes, Teddy loves this time of year. He's like a vampire. No sleep for the weary, Teddy. That's right. None of it. Ain't no time to get enough sleep in July. All right, come on, Kevin. Talk to us here, man. Continuing to roll also. You're on a hell of a nice run yourself there, and the NBA continues to be profitable for you, man. What's going on at Wager Talk?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about, season after season. It's been deadly profitable. I have been on a little bit of a hiccup now, I have to say. Now, we haven't had a great run over the last week, but obviously looking to change that here. And took Tuesday night off last night in the NBA. Obviously, short card, didn't like anything there, but I do have a 4% loaded up for later over in the East tonight that I really like. And, obviously always happy to be on the show and break down a few of these games tonight in the NBA.
All right, well, let's do it then here, guys. No better place to start. It was a small card yesterday. We went all over all the games we went over. Did not have a contrarian play, but we do here today, and we are going to take a look at the Minnesota Timberwolves going to be taking on the Golden State Warriors. You can't knock back the Warriors, right? Oh, my goodness. Oh, they're so great. Well, 7.5. I think it's been up to 8.5 too at one particular point. No shortage of love for the Golden State Warriors here tonight. 222 for a half is a total, but Mejia, I'll come to you here, my friend. It has not been profitable backing the T-Wolves on any stretch of the imagination here recently. But might I be able to convince you that maybe, just maybe, you should be looking at the points tonight with this T-Wolves team?
Well, wherever you get these contrarian picks from, whatever dark forces conspire to whisper in your ear, this is like right up their alley. The Timberwolves 0 for 5 on their last 5 spread plays, and they've lost them all outright. Golden State Warriors 4 out of 5 covers, and they've won them all outright. So of course the Timberwolves probably win outright tonight, right? That's the way it works in the contrarian circles. And look, we've got at least D'Angelo Russell back to give Minnesota a boost whenever he's shooting the ball well. That really makes life easier for Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. They got a couple of guys that actually play defense there. Patrick Beverley's influence has still not really inspired wins, but they did hang around with the Clippers until they ran out of gas. I think it's a team that it's going to figure some things out. They've got too much athleticism and too much talent. Maybe tonight, it's chasing around Steph Curry and running him off 3-pointers. But the reason why Golden State has been so effective is the guys around Steph Curry have really shot the ball extremely well. Jordan Poole, Damian Lee, even Juan Toscano Anderson has gotten in there. So it's been a collective approach for Golden State, and again, playing really well. But you said it tongue-in-cheek. How can anybody beat these Warriors? Well, they still don't have Klay Thompson. They still don't have James Wiseman. It's still a team that it has some flaws when Steph's shot isn't falling. So sign me up, man. I'm a believer. Give me the Minnesota Timberwolves at whatever you're giving me.
I love it.
Hang with the Golden State Warriors. Respect.
7.5 is what it looks to be, and it's been stuck at that number for a while here. And Teddy, what do you think, making your contrarian debut here? Can we convince you that maybe, just maybe, the Timberwolves might be where you want to look here tonight?
That's the only way I would want to look tonight. And again, when the concept of one team on a point spread free fall and the other team on a point spread monster run, which is what we have here. I mean, the Warriors 4-0-1 or 5-0 against the spread their last 5 compared to Minnesota 0-5 ATS. Early in the season, these situations create most assuredly quote-unquote value plays. And I think there is legitimate value on Minnesota tonight. It's not like the T-Wolves are expected to be garbage this year. They're not. All right. And they played a whole bunch of games without D'Angelo Russell. Russell back in the lineup for their last contest, and all of a sudden they're taking Memphis to overtime. And I know they lost that game and failed to cover in overtime, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. What happened before that? They had a 2-point loss to Denver. Okay, no harm there. And they had a bad game against Orlando. Happens. And then they had 2 games against the Clippers where the Clippers were hitting, and frankly, Clippers are playing some pretty good ball right now. So I'm not going to downgrade Minnesota too much for this current slump. And at the current price, I could only look at the T-Wolves plus the points.
Love it. All right. 2 for the contrarian side. Kevin, don't you dare. I know what's coming here, man. Kevin Dolan, are you going to laugh at the contrarian gods, or you're going to take the value and back the T-Wolves in this one?
No, look, I told you last week, Joe, I've learned my lesson. So, yeah, I like Minnesota here too. And you know what? Teddy made a good point, because this is almost a contrarian play stacked on top of another contrarian play. You know, it's like a double contrarian play almost here. Because, you know, huge public action, as you guys said, in Golden State. I seen this number at 7 just a few hours ago over here in Europe as well. It has tipped up to 7.5. So some money did come in Minnesota. And, you know, we have a situation here, as Teddy said, where Golden State have been absolutely lights out to start the season. 9-1 straight up, 6-3-1 against the spread. And Minnesota complete opposite, 3-6 in the year straight up, 2-7 ATS to start the season. So, you know, as I said, Minnesota's almost taking a double contrarian play for me tonight. So everything points to the T-Wolves tonight for me. I'm in full agreement with the fellas. And yes, we'll make it a sweep, Minnesota plus the points.
Let's do it, which means I got to run out and bet Golden State. But there you got it, guys. T-Wolves plus 7.5 tonight. Your contrarian play of the day. All right, let's move on. Featured game number 1 here tonight is going to feature a team in which made us a little bit of money there from the contrarian side last week with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And they'll be hosting the Washington Wizards. This game opened up 4.5 right now. I see 3.5s on the board. Total is 212 at an open, and Cleveland 7-2 straight up, 8-1 against the number here since late October, Teddy. And I know it was the Colin Sexton injury was bad, and you feel terrible. But the reality is, he was really not the reason why they've been this good. So do you think Cleveland getting some points here is the side worth taking?
Well, I certainly wouldn't diminish Sexton's impact on that team, and as much off the court as on. Sexton's developed into a leader for that team, and without him, they will surely miss something. That being said, they lost him early last game, and Ricky Rubio came off the bench and hit 8 3-pointers and ended up with 37 points, and they shot lights out in another win against the Knicks. And I mean, the Cavs, it's not just Sexton that they're missing tonight. Markkanen's still out. Kevin Love's still out. And between them, it's 80 minutes a game for a team that isn't necessarily the deepest team in the NBA. That said, they should have Isaac Okoro back tonight, who will likely share some ball handling duties with Rubio. And we're talking about a Cavs team. Again, we look at the course of the last 2 weeks. 8-point dogs to Atlanta win outright. 9.5-point dogs to Denver win outright. 8-point dogs to the Clippers win outright. 10-point dogs to the Suns cover. 5-point dogs to Charlotte win outright. 5.5-point dogs to Portland win outright. 6-point dogs to Toronto win outright. 7.5-point dogs against the Knicks win outright. The markets are wrong on Cleveland. This is a one-way team for me, even with the injuries. And this is the first game that Sexton is officially out. We expect teams to step up in that first game without their stud. Nothing bad to say about their opponent. Washington played good basketball. But from a point spread perspective, Cleveland has been value from day one, and I'm not convinced the markets have them right yet. We talk about not trying to catch the falling knife. Cleveland is a rising knife right now, and all I want to do is have my money on the Cavs if I'm involved in one of their games, even without Sexton, even without Love, even without Markkanen on the floor this evening.
One of the best teams scoring in and around the rim, Washington, going up against one of the, top 5 teams at defending buckets around the rim. Evan Mobley has a lot to do with that. So, Kev, what do you think here? Cleveland has been profitable, and yet we're still watching them at home getting points again this week. What do you think?
Well, I'll be first in line to congratulate this Cleveland team. It hasn't just been the books that got this team wrong. I've got them wrong. They're playing far and above anything I expected from them to start the year. And it is hard to step in front of them here. I faded them last week. Huge spot for me on my card. I had Portland. I thought it was a fantastic spot for the Blazers, taking on a team returning home after winning 3 of 5 on the road against, some pretty good teams out west. But, this Cavaliers just, continued to prove me wrong, won that one outright as dogs. So I'm really having to hold my nose fading this team right now, but I will do it. I kind of like Washington here, saying that. Look, it's all about long-term at least. Teams, yes, you don't want to catch a falling knife, but, they can't continually beat the market by this much of a gap, in my opinion. We were seeing a similar situation tonight for the Cavs we saw last week against Portland. Cleveland returning home after a successful road trip, albeit obviously much shorter. And Cleveland won outright in Toronto, as Teddy said, 6-point dogs on Friday. They won outright in New York, 7.5-point dogs on Sunday. I mean, that's just a huge red flag for me personally when you're coming home. And the fact that they're outperforming the market to this kind of degree. So obviously I can understand why early money has come in on Cleveland here. They're getting people paid, obviously, 8-2 against the spread. But I have to look towards taking Washington here on the short number. The Wizards have the 4th best defensive efficiency ratings on the road this season. So I think they can limit Cleveland offensively here and get the win on cover on the road against the Cavaliers. So, Washington for me.
What do you think there, Tony Mejia? I mean, the market has been moving towards Cleveland. Do you agree with that, or are we missing something about this Wizards team?
Well, I just want to know from Teddy, I mean, what's a rising knife? It's like a rocket ship. It's kind of dangerous. Look, we have reverse line movement here, no? Money coming in on Washington, and yet the line's moving closer to 3 from 4.5. So I mentioned the contrarian's cousin last week in talking about that Knicks Bucks line that was puzzling, and Milwaukee went up by 20 and then lost by 15. So I think this is a similar situation here where I understand why there's money in on Washington. You look at Cleveland's rotation without Sexton, it's probably going to move Rubio into the starting lineup. Thank goodness for them that they get Okoro back. But you're talking about heavy minutes for Chetty Osman, Lamar Stevens, and maybe even a Taco Fall cameo. Maybe we'll pull a Boban, come in and give you 10 minutes of just roughing people up in the post. But certainly Washington's the more cohesive unit here. They've got their starting five intact. Montrezl Harrell is playing like a sixth man of the year candidate again. Denny Avdia was injured last year and came back and is really playing well. When he gives you 15 minutes the way he's been playing, a fire. I mean, that's really made a difference for Washington. Raul Neto is an experienced point guard off the bench. So I think from that standpoint, I understand why Washington is the play here. I mean, Cleveland is out 3 rotational players with Love and Markkanen gone with due to COVID protocols, and obviously Sexton injured for the foreseeable future. So Washington would be the spot, but all that line movement scares me. The fact that this looks like a contrarian play scares me. So I recommend going with the over here. I think that the Cleveland second unit is more likely to get beat on the defensive end and score points to match up with Valentine and Stevens, both really proficient offensive players that don't give you much on the defensive end. And I think the number is low, 2.5, 209. So I'm going to like the over here as my better bet. And I'm puzzled by Washington, Cleveland, and this line movement.
2 very good teams against the number there. You saw it 8-3 for the Cavs, 7-3 for the Wizards on the season. So something going to give here tonight. Should be a fun one. 7 o'clock Eastern time tip. We are going to move, and we're going to head a little further east, and let's talk about the Boston Celtics hosting the Toronto Raptors. And we saw this one of the first couple of games of the season, in fact. This is Boston at 3. It opened right around that 2.5 and 3 mark. It's holding strong. 209.5 here, Teddy. This line was Boston 7.5, if I'm not mistaken, back when they played there on the second game of the season, and Boston lost outright. Now they don't have Jaylen Brown. Siakam seems to be trying to work his way back into the rotation with Toronto. So, what do you make of the Boston laying 3 here?
I think the wrong team's favored. That's what I make of it. The money's coming in on the Celtics right now. And again, you talked about that first meeting. There was nothing fraudulent about that game. Toronto was the better team start to finish. I'm not convinced they're not the better team today, especially without Brown in the lineup for the Celtics. And certainly, there was a little bit of a buy sign on Boston on this last road trip. And they went to Orlando, and they had the team dinner beforehand and all got together and talked about playing a good game. And they did. And they played a great game against Miami next time out and played a good game against Dallas in the finale of the road trip, even though they lost on a Luka buzzer beater at the end of that ball game. So there's positive signs for Boston. But again, they just went through that first game without Brown. Now they're without Brown again here. I like the teams like Sexton and the Cavs. The first game without them, you want them. The second game, not necessarily as much. And when we look at the course of the season, again, that win over Miami is the only win that Boston has over an opponent with a winning record this season. The Celtics not been moneymakers, and 0 for the season at home, by the way, for Boston. Now, you talked about Siakam coming back for Toronto. He was back in the starting rotation last time out against Brooklyn. And as we often see, we like the teams when the starters go down. The first game back, there's always some adjustment period, and that was certainly the case for Toronto. But when you look at some of the stats for these two teams, Raptors the better rebounding team. Raptors the better defensive efficiency team. Raptors the better offensive efficiency team. We got Toronto off back-to-back losses. They haven't lost 3 times all season in a row. And we've seen them not just beat Boston, they annihilated Boston in that first meeting. They did it defensively. They're still the better defensive squad. Raptors or pass for this bet.
There you go. It's an interesting line here, Kev. How did you have these two? No Jaylen Brown here for the Celtics. So how did you have these guys rated here looking at it?
It's interesting. Look, I don't have a huge opinion in this game, in fairness, but, I do think we get a best effort from Boston tonight. Even with Brown out, as, we heard a joke at the start of the season when this Raptors team came in, and blew Boston out in their home court by 30-plus points, and no one should do that to the Celtics. You know what I mean? Embarrassing stuff on home floor. So, I kind of do think the situation sets up well tonight for the Celtics, who are likely probably in a bit of revenge mood here. As Teddy said, though, Toronto's definitely got the better stats heading into this one, so I'm not sure I can quite get there on the side for Boston this one. But, if we're going to get a best effort from Boston here, I think it likely comes in the defensive end for them. Boston have averaged the best defensive efficiency numbers in the league over the last 3 games. They're holding opponents to just 25.2% three-point shooting as well over that same stretch, second best in the league. So I think Boston do get the win tonight here at home. Possibly, maybe they cover as well, on this short number. Although I do expect this one to be close. So I'd probably just edge towards the under here as my preferred play in this one.
All right, going to lean towards the under. And what do you think here, Tony Mejia? Side total, how do you approach this one with no Jaylen Brown?
I'm going to burn, Joe, and not catch fire. I'm going to burn Switzerland. I have no opinion on this game whatsoever. It's a wait-and-see game for me because you have Jaylen Brown out now. He was out for the Dallas game, and I would love to go with the first half under, considering that the Celtics really struggled in that game. They scored 15 points in the first quarter and then got their act together in the second half. Toronto welcomed Pascal Siakam back on Sunday, and it was the opposite effect. They looked to run. Siakam was a small ball 5, and it's what Nick Nurse wants to do in terms of you get the rebound, anybody on the floor can push up and get out there. Scotty Barnes, obviously the guards. It's that Anunoby. It's a team that he wants to construct that way. And in this matchup, you've got 2 teams that are very well rested. The Raptors haven't played since the weekend, and Boston hasn't been on the court since the 6th. So that to me it leads both teams to take a defensive approach early on, especially with Boston looking to mask Brown's absence and Toronto working Siakam back in. But again, the fact that we could get a fast-paced start, knocks me off of that, and it knocks me off of this full game as well, because I think I agree with Teddy that the wrong team is favored. Toronto is certainly the more talented group with Jaylen Brown off the floor and Jason Tatum not quite himself right now. But maybe Boston's home court advantage plays. So again, take me to the capital city of Switzerland because I'm sitting this one out.
Oh, I cannot believe you got Swiss flag, dude. Whether you know it or don't, you got Swiss, man. All right. Straddle in the fence. Scotty Barnes, can we go with a Florida State, Scotty Barnes, Toronto? What do you think? Can we go with a prop there? Florida State tonight along with Scotty Barnes getting over 10 points. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Scotty Barnes, at this point, he's come back from an injury and immediately picked up where he left off. Yep. He finds a way to fit in, whether it's as a facilitator, hitting that short jump shot, or rebounding and pushing pace. If not a points prop, maybe a points, rebounds, and assists. But certainly, the wrong 2 rookies are playing in terms of being highlighted tonight. Scotty Barnes and Evan Mobley, both in action, are your Rookie of the Year favorites to date.
Amen to that. Should be fun there, guys. All right, we do have, of course, our overtime game. We'll take a look at a total tonight on the board. And, yeah, good luck with this one. Let's take a look at the Miami Heat taking on the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm still seeing, what's that? Opened at 214.5. I'm seeing even a 217 starting to pop up, 216.5, 217s now on the market. So the big thing here, Teddy, is I have no idea. Bam and Tyler Hero still listed as questionable. We've got a probable tag on, we know LeBron is out here, but Anthony Davis looks to be probable. If Hero and Bam are out, is there any way you can even look at an over in this one? Or an under, rather?
Well, so it's not an easy total for me. I'll start with that. I'm going to be as Switzerland as I can be on this analysis because we've seen a Miami team that, hung 129 on Memphis and 125 on Dallas, and then Boston played defense on them. They hung 78. Last time out against Denver, 96. Both really poor offensive games for Miami. That's not the norm for the Heat. One expects better offensive showings, but if you don't have Bam and you don't have Hero, that's a major concern offensively. I don't want to ask the Lakers to do anything for me. I don't want to ask them to get stops. I don't want to ask them to score. The Lakers, even the win last time out against Charlotte, where the Lakers played like it was a playoff game. They were like, we got to win this one. And they really dug down deep. And, they end up by 3 in overtime. Can't get stops down the stretch, not taking good shots. Westbrook running that offense is, the stats are there. The offensive efficiency isn't. I'm Switzerland. I don't know what to do with the total on this one.
All right. Well, it's a tough one there. I mean, Bam and Tyler Hero, where are the points coming from the bench if he's not leading the charge there? So, Kev, when you looked at this, are you a little shocked that the market continues to push this total up here?
Yeah, but I mean, you would expect that regression to the mean because, Miami were absolutely dog awful in Monday night's loss. The Nuggets, shot under 40% from the field. Hero just 3 of 12 shooting, 2 of 9 from beyond the arc as well. Kyle Lowry, 0 of 8 shooting, 0 of 6 from 3-point range. So, maybe they left their shooting boots back in Miami, who knows? But you'd have to imagine this is a very doable total between these two tonight. If we get anything like back to we don't even need their best, just back to normal, basically. Because, look, Miami have the 4th highest defensive efficiency numbers in the league this season. Even the Lakers have been, pretty red-hot shooting at home this year, 38.6% from downtown at home. That's 5th best in the league right now, when they do let their hands go. So if I'm going to play this one, I probably would be looking towards the over, although, it wouldn't be a particularly strong play by any stretch.
It's Tony, it is. It's a question of if I get Bam and I get Hero going, and to Kevin's point, if we get a halfway decent offensive game from these people, we're probably going over here. So what do you think of this matchup here? Or can you just not trust the Lakers to score enough points ever at this particular point?
Right. I think it's the latter on that because the Lakers are so inconsistent offensively. And up until this line movement pushing it up to 216, 216 and a half, 217, this was going to match the Oklahoma City game as the Lakers' lowest total of the season. And Miami has been low totals for the last, since November began. 213 and a half is their highest total in that Celtics game where they, completely had a meltdown offensively and ended up with 78 points. And then they scored only 96 against the Denver Nuggets the other night where Kyle Lowry goes scoreless and dishes out 4 assists in 37 minutes. So clearly there's some offensive issues going on for both of these teams. And if we get Bam Adebayo, then the Heat can hang their hat on what they do defensively because he'll be able to man up better on Anthony Davis and help the other guys around the rim. So this will take on one of those games where both teams will work shot clock, especially in the second half, and try to win this the old-fashioned way, especially since Russell Westbrook and Hero, if he plays, aren't going to get calls at the rim the way they would have last season. So it's an under trend for me, and I think we do get Adebayo. I think we do get Hero, and I think we get an under ultimately in a game that both of these teams want to win and pack away, to build some momentum going forward. He'll play the Clippers tomorrow night, and the Lakers are starting up a homestand that they did. They opened successfully against LaMelo Ball and the Hornets.
Yeah, it's a beginning of a road trip there, which didn't start well in Denver for Miami, but they're going to hang out in LA for a couple days. And tonight, leaning the under is where Tony Mejia is going, and I tend to agree with him. All right, guys, there you got it. 4 games on the board here tonight. Time to throw 60 seconds on the clock and see if there is a game among the 13 on the card here. Maybe these guys like a little bit more than the others. And Mejia will come back and start with you, my man. You know what's going on. 60 seconds. Talk to us. Tell us which game you're leaning towards here tonight.
Well, I'm going to talk another game that's got everybody on their edge of their seats tonight. The Thunder playing the Pelicans. Very exciting game. And we have the possible return of Brandon Ingram and the availability also of Herbert Jones, the rookie out of Alabama, who has really done a nice job when he's been out there of making that team a defensive more defensive minded. They play slower with Jonas Valanciunas, working him in the post. This is a matchup of cousins with Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander squaring off. And ultimately, I think Ingram will probably return, but even if he doesn't, this still plays with my wager. I like the Oklahoma City Thunder. They've kind of found their footing of late. Certainly, they're one of the least talented teams in the league, certainly one of the youngest teams in the league. But Josh Giddey has been impressive. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has put the team on his back when he's needed to. And I think they will cover a 5-point spread. So give me OKC.
All right, there it is. OKC tonight. 5-1, by the way, in their last 6. Okay. 2-game winning streak. Don't make fun of OKC. Love OKC. I'll never watch this game. Teddy, 60 seconds on the clock, my friend. Talk to us. Is there a game you might be looking at here on the card tonight?
Sure, and this is one broke down as well on Wager Talk today this morning. Of course, every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, noon back east. A little sports center for gamblers right here on the Wager Talk YouTube channel every weekday. We talked about the Chicago Bulls and the Dallas Mavericks. Ooh. My opinion on the game hasn't changed one bit since this morning. I think the Bulls are a good bet at -3.5. That's the current number. Looking at that Wager Talk live odds screen. And this is as much anti-Dallas as it is pro-Chicago. I'm not sold on the Mavs being as good as their 7-3 record. They faced a bunch of weaklings early on, and they're stepping up a class here. And boy, when you look at some of the stats, it's a Mavs bench that has played very well in early season play against all these bad teams. They outscored the Pelicans 42-10 in terms of bench points the other night. No bench advantage against Chicago. And with DeRozan and Levine playing top-notch ball right now, Bulls -3.5.
Could not agree more. 3-6-1 against the number. They have yet to cover the number in 2 straight games. You gotta hate this, Dallas. It's the Jason Kidd factor, man. All right, and guys, don't make sure you remember Teddy. You can get him at Wager Talk as well as sportsmemo.com. He told you best bets locked and loaded, ready to go. So make sure you visit him there. And Kev, talk to us here, my man. 60 seconds on the clock. Which one of these games you looking at?
I put up a play earlier actually on Wager Talk free picks page. I put Brooklyn -9 up this morning. It's since gone up to -10, obviously, but I still like that, and that's it's obviously the Brooklyn Nets tonight taking on Orlando on the road. Situation here sets up nicely, I think, for Brooklyn. The Nets got manhandled on Monday against the Bulls. Got beat by 23 points in that game, and especially late, completely fell apart down the stretch in that one against Chicago. The Bulls going on a 42-17 run to close the show. So I think Brooklyn bounced back here tonight. I like the spot for them, as I said, and I do expect a big, double-digit win and cover on the road here against Orlando. The Magic are a team with the second worst offensive efficiency metrics in the league at home this season. They're giving up a full 4% more from 3-point range as well at home rather than road. So, I think the Nets are the play here. I think they win this and cover this by double digits. So, best bet, Brooklyn Nets -10.
Lay it. And, Tony, I understand you have tickets to the UCF game and the Orlando Magic game tonight, and you just can't seem to get rid of those tickets. It's shocking. Don't forget, guys, can we get a Knicks first half, by the way? Anybody? Recap one more time.
Thunder over tonight.
Yes.
Really
Thunder +5 for Tony Mejia tonight. They continue to roll. Teddy is a fade of Dallas. Could not agree more. Bulls laying the 3.5. And Kevin says, take Brooklyn. Nice little bounce back here against this G League Orlando Magic team. Our contrarian play of the day, guys. We're looking at the Minnesota Timberwolves getting 7.5 here tonight. We'll see if they can get it done after that collapse against Memphis. We'll see if they can get it done here tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Best bets up, locked and loaded, guys. WagerTalk.com for Tony Mejia and Kevin Dolan, as well as Teddy. And don't forget, you can also catch Teddy over at sportsmemo.com. So there you got it. Hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Get notified. We'll be back again tomorrow for another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. In the meantime, on behalf of Tony Mejia, Teddy Covers, and Kevin Dolan, guys, best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk Text Club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.